Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good evening. Some people are evening, some people are on morning, some people are afternoon, wherever you're watching from on the surface of the earth. Planet Earth, I want to say a very good morning to you and welcome to this a lovely edition where we will be going through so many things and so many things and so many things today. First of all, I want to thank you for joining us again. If you're just joining me for the first time, this is Scrutiny with Tony Nnadi, where we'll be dissecting and looking at everything to do with the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which is a complete fraud, which is the tab, like Tony will put it, the tab, all our mystery in that country is flowing from, which is actually affecting all other part of the world as well. My name remains Ade Thomas. I will be your host, and my guest I will be introducing him in a minute. So many of you actually know Tony. He's one person who has been fighting bitterly and bitterly and bitterly and bitterly to make sure we fix the issue of the 1999 Constitution legally. There's so many ways you can get to the top of the tree. You can actually use a rope to I don't know how they call the rope now, to climb the rope, or you can actually climb the stem of the tree. You can put some nails on the tree and use it. You can use a ladder. And if it's in the Western world where there's so many luxury, you can use something called cherry picker, which is the easiest way. So Tony is going to be explaining so many things to us today about everything to do with Nigeria, but we cannot ignore the other part of the world. What is happening in other part of the world has a relative impact in what is going on in our country called Nigeria, currently location 9. Some people call it that. So without much to do, let me bring my guest in this morning. But before we go to Nigeria, there are some few things we want to iron out. And good morning, Mr. Tony. Welcome back to another show today. I hope you're going to have a lovely
morning. And welcoming our viewers one more time.
Wow. For the benefit of those few, very, 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 very few that doesn't know you, right? I would like to introduce yourself to them, sir.
Like you already told, Tony Nnadi is my name. I happen to be a lawyer and secretary to an organization called the Lower Niger Congress, and also co-convener to an outreach platform we call Movement for New Nigeria, which is actually a movement for no Nigeria, since the proprietors of Nigeria have bluntly refused to address the issues of the union agreement.
Okay, Mr. Tony, you've been to so many places to argue this, but before we continue, let me just let people know this program is available on YouTube, on Facebook, on Periscope, on Twitter, for the advantage of people that will get the link. I have to put the Twitter link there, the Facebook link, the YouTube link. It's available on our website as well. It's available on our app, Heritage Multimedia Television Pro app on both YouTube, on Android, and which is called the Play Store, and iOS App Store, which is called the App Store. I want to welcome everybody again. Before we go and start talking about this 1999 Constitution, let's talk about something very, very strange, very, very surprised, very, very frightening, very, very intimidating as well. I'm going to show you something quickly, Mr. T, and we would like to talk about this. I'm sure when I show this, everybody will know what I want to talk about. This is it. The White House. So, the problem in the White House is that they had the election some few days ago, but up to now, there is no clear winner to the election. Could it be another constitutional issue in America? Mr. Tony.
Well, yes, constitutional issues are likely to arise, but coming from the elections. But let's share with our viewers what the unseen dynamics at play. which is going to have ripple effects no matter anyhow the US resolves this issue. We have ripple effects across the globe. What is playing out in the US, many may not know, is a pushing and pulling arising from the bitter engagement right now between the forces of globalization and the forces of nationalism. The forces of globalization and the forces of nationalism. Trump's biggest offense was when he declared America first. For those who that America first means whatever else has to suffer, the US has to be brought back to its feet firmly, and I can assure you many things will suffer. Globalization came to where those who started it thinking they were going to take advantage of the whole world being ahead of everybody, suddenly began to lose all kinds of things they could take for granted. Their auto industry went the way of Japan. Japan was now doing so much in the US. Their shipbuilding, their textile, even food, all kinds of things became, things that people could come from all over the world to do in their space. And so it came to a point where they had to roll back to say, this thing has come to where we're almost incapacitating ourselves. And every other thing we hear, China is on one side, all the other people who have been forced to roll back one thing or the other, including immigration questions, including all of the NATO issues, the alliances, the terror fights, and all of whatever has to work together. Those are the things. Those are the unseen dynamics driving what became an election, this cliffhanger kind of election. And so we pray that it doesn't come to where things snap, because if things snap for the US in that manner, it will have far-reaching consequences in distant places.
Okay. Thank you for that analysis. Thank you for briefing me on this one. I'm really happy, and I'm sure all our audience from everywhere in the world who are currently watching us will be very, very happy with what we're trying to analyze at the moment. I want to say a very good morning to everyone who are just joining, because people are just climbing, and the figures are just climbing up rapidly now from all the social media platforms. Remember, this program is available on everything and everywhere you can think of: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, our app, our website. It's all there. So there is no point in saying I missed it because I didn't see it. Mr. Tony, let's go back to the order of the day. Having established from previous episode that the woes of Nigerians and those of Nigerians and woes of Nigeria itself from the fraudulent unitary constitution of the 1999, whether it's the police, the police brutality, whether it's the SARS, whether it's anything, whether it's eminent killing, whether it's momentary corruption, impunity, whether even the salaries of the people in the house, everything flow from this one, from how they appoint the parastatals, DG, and which ministerial position goes where and where. They were trying to do it in a way that people can just get away with whatever they like to do without any recourse to law. We've established that. We have also seen a countrywide reputations of the 1999 Constitution on the basis of Nigerian Union. As things gets worse for Nigerians and Nigeria, and especially the aftermath of the End SARS protests, that was basically a revolt of the Nigerian youth against the failed system, which is still failing, that has totally ruined their presence and heavily compromises their future. There is rapid growing consensus that the 1999 Constitution must now be decommissioned and jettisoned wholesale, particularly by those clamoring for the restructuring of Nigeria, and even those like who now seek outright independence, like the Oduduwa and the Biafrans and the Middle Belt, and some people clamoring to say, I want to go, I'm not going to let you go. I'm going to go, I'm not going to let you go. Until this constitution is actually the word look into. Are we going anywhere or we're still stuck?
Well, like we've done in the last 3 or so episodes, our people need to understand what the problems are. Like the doctors who do with diagnosis for Nigeria is sick, in fact, unto death at this time. And people have been wondering, what is this ailment that is choking both the country, but more importantly, the citizens? Because a lot of people, not citizens, the peoples of Nigeria. And I want listeners to pay attention to the words being used. The peoples of Nigeria, totally different from the people of Nigeria. Now, the peoples of Nigeria, meaning the constituents, those who are locked in here by sheer force against their will. Those who will have been who are sat now, or all the while will have preferred to be by themselves, but for Nigeria that is laying claim to their space, holding them against their will by force. So the matter is, what is this ailment that has brought the peoples of Nigeria to this kind of a situation in which everybody is choking, that has brought Nigeria itself to where it has now become, the example, the study in failed states. There's actually, I think it's in Harvard or somewhere, that Nigeria has been picked as the case study for failed states. And Nigeria has also emerged the poverty capital of the world, even with all its, oil and gas assets and all that. There's so much of human resources available to it. What is it that has brought Nigeria to where killings are happening all over the place, to where rule of law is almost forgotten, to where the present corruption is climbing, higher and higher, impunity is growing bigger and bigger? What is it that has brought us to this decay in infrastructure across board? What is it that has brought Nigeria to where the debate right now is whether we can continue? A majority, more than 75%, are now saying, look, if Nigeria has turned to a union of death, a union of attrition, a union of backwardness, what is it that has brought all of this to where it is? And young people the other time across the country poured out to the streets protesting. What started, something ignited it, the police brutality, which was why they tagged it End SARS, because SARS became emblematic of that police brutality. Now, by the time they came out, everybody began to see that it didn't start and end with police brutality. The electricity is not there. Corruption is still there. Elections are always upside down. Everything, any direction you look at, poverty is mounting. Public officials are growing in leaps and bounds in terms of their benefits, counting in billions. We saw one of the senators displaying to us the kind of opulence, the kind of wealth they live in a country where more than 80% of them live below $1 a day. It used to be a little better until this daily devaluation of naira on account of the same factor. And so, like doctors who do diagnosis, our diagnosis, and when I say our, all of those who have the capacity to understand what has gone wrong, the diagnosis for the patient Nigeria is that constitution by which it is conveyed and operated is the reason for all of what has gone wrong with it and going wrong with it and will continue to go wrong with it. It is the tap from which all these evils flow. Whether it is corruption we're looking at, or impunity we're looking at, or infrastructure that is not there we're looking at, or the poverty that is growing, or the impunity we see, we can show our viewers the specific provisions of the Constitution that are responsible for each of these, and which, if that Constitution is not taken down, nothing will change. Nothing whatsoever is capable of changing any of those things. The herdsmen killings going on, the seizure of the oil and gas assets of the Niger Delta, for which they went into agitation for resource control, whatever led OPC into taking up arms to contend for the internal security arrangements in Yoruba land, whatever led those who are waving Biafran flag all over the place now for saying, look, we don't want to belong here anymore, or the ones who have now declared the Odua Republic as their preference for Nigeria that is failing them on all fronts. And so the tap from which all this flow is the 1999 Constitution, the unitary Constitution of Nigeria that took us away from being the federation we agreed to be. We became one country because we were going to be a federation where life will be held sacrosanct, where as a secular state, and where all men will be treated equal. Unlike a feudalism in which all men are not equal, therefore some are born to rule the others. And so where we are is that diagnosis has been made completely. You now come to the prescription. What are the options available for managing all of this? Well, we see some saying, look, we have waited since 1967 that we went to Aburi to discuss when our union first collapsed, to go back to what we agreed at the beginning, which will work better for everybody. It is the centralization, the over-centralization created by that constitution that is the problem. That's the name of the sickness, over-centralization. That's what we call unitary, which is the opposite of the federal basis of the union. And it is in the departure from the secular state we agree to be by those who impose Sharia, contrary to the express provisions of Section 10, even as bad as that constitution is. The Section 10 of that constitution expressly prohibits the adoption of state religion. And so when 12 states in the far north are running from Sokoto all the way to Maiduguri through Katsina and Kano and Gombe, when those 12 states simultaneously, 12 contiguous states simultaneously adopted Sharia in year 2000, 1 year into the 1999 Constitution, they simply had seceded from the secular union we were building. Their houses of assembly passed the laws, and their governors signed and began to set up Hisba and all kinds of implementation and enforcement agencies. And then Boko Haram came, and we saw that it became difficult to draw the line between where Boko Haram stopped and where the states that were doing Sharia started. When Boko Haram still had time to explain to anybody why they were doing what they were doing, we saw them clearly say that they reject democracy, they want Sharia. That they reject constitutionalism, they want Sharia. Because Sharia is mutually exclusive with democracy and constitutionalism. And so, in that existing complaint of the abandonment of the federal basis of the union, we now got into this compounding factor of 12 contiguous states simultaneously adopting Sharia. Of course, the rest of the country interpreted it to mean that they had repudiated the constitution that is holding us together, even as imposed as it is. Those 12 states had repudiated and seceded from the secular union we thought we were building. And so in terms of options of what to do, those who were the receiving end of all of this, the abandonment of federalism, that particularly the South and now the Middle Belt, began to think of what to do with their own future, because our sovereignties have been collectively confiscated by the federal government which has hijacked the federation, and that federal government has itself been hijacked by a small section of the country, the Fulani. Whether anybody wants to hear it or not, it is the Fulani trying to establish, reinforce their hegemony over the rest. That is, the chief reason why this unitarianism is being imposed. And at the time, the rest of the country that is rejecting Sharia and rejecting unitarianism have reached a consensus of what to do about the matter. If you go back, if you go back to the map that puts the whole thing in perspective, so that viewers can see those 12 states on one side, the ones who say they want SARS, at the time the other people say they reject SARS, the ones who insist on clinging onto this constitution that was alleged to have been made by us, which we never made. Let us know that what we're discussing is a matter of life and death.
Yeah.
Let those who can access, even online, the Constitution, get a copy of it now and see exactly what the issue is in that preamble that is in that Constitution that puts our signature on a document we did not make. Whether you're in the Niger Delta looking for how to recover your assets, the oil and gas that Nigeria hijacked and confiscated, or you are in Yoruba land wondering how the ports of Lagos became the property of Kano people, wondering how the bitumen and oil and gas of Ondo became something nobody in Yoruba land or Ondo land can go near or touch. Whether you are in the middle belt wondering why strangers come from not just the further north, but from all over Africa, particularly the West African sub-region, Fulani strangers they call Fulani herdsmen, pouring in from everywhere, armed with sophisticated weapons, can come to your community and kill as they like, with no consequences at all. All of those things are coming from provisions, specific provisions in that constitution that now claims that you authorize your damnation in the preamble. To make it simple, the preamble says, we the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That we the people refers to we the thief, we the Doma, we the Jo, we the Igbo, we the Yoruba, having firmly and solemnly resolved to live in unity, meaning that we have by our own volition submitted our lands and our assets and our people into the union to be called Nigeria. That is what that preamble says.
Into slavery.
Yes, into slavery and servitude. Into giving up all our assets as contained in the Constitution that now lists all of those things as belonging to some federal government in a federation that collapsed in 1966. Now, in that same preamble, it goes further to say, do hereby make and give unto ourselves the following constitution. So there are two claims, and I want us to keep those two claims apart. The first claim is that we have submitted by ourselves after discussion amongst ourselves. That is, the constituent component nationalities are the ones saying this. To be in this union of indissoluble and indivisible, do hereby, that's the second claim, do hereby make and give unto ourselves the following constitution. That is, the constitution is the union agreement. Nobody can write an agreement if they have not discussed with those they have to agree with.
Yes.
What that preamble represents is that we have all agreed to submit ourselves into this union, and we have therefore gone to write this constitution as the articles to govern our relationship. Just like the memo and articles of a company. The shareholders, those A, B, C, D that come together to submit their assets and commit themselves into, into a body corporate, XYZ Limited. In the first part is where you have the memo, the memorandum forming the company. That's a totally different document. All of you are familiar with memo and article. You will see that the memo is one document and the article is another document, articles. And so the constitution to the country is exactly like the memo and articles to the company. The memo creates the company, everybody bringing what they have to bring, and that is where you begin to determine what's stake. What are you bringing? What are you going? How are we going to? What business are we to be doing? What business are we coming to do? How are we to do it? What are the, who is bringing what and who is taking, in all of that, it is that discussion that ends in an agreement of forming the company. And then the articles begin to spell out who brings what, who takes what, if there's problem, if there's profit. Every single thing that will happen to the company is listed in the articles. But let us bear in mind that it is the memo that creates the company. If you have not addressed the question of those who are going to form the company sitting together to agree to form the company, you cannot go to the question of articles and memo. In the case of the Constitution, the issue before the Union right now, and this explanation is going to the members of the National Assembly, the federal government of Nigeria, all the stakeholders, the constituent components of Nigeria, whether they be Yoruba or they be Ijaw or they be Ogoni or they be Doma or Tiv. This explanation is going to stakeholders that the question before Nigeria now is, have we agreed to submit our lands and our peoples into this union as claimed in that preamble? Have we therefore written the Constitution, made and given unto ourselves the Constitution? Every other provision in that Constitution, including the 36 states that are listed as the federating units, including the 774 local government areas that are listed as sub-federating units, including all the provisions on the exclusive list that sees the assets, whether it be oil and gas or coal or bitumen or limestone, and the right to do all kinds of things, including policing ourselves, defending ourselves from invaders, arms and ammunition. All those things that are listed in the exclusive list is the mechanism by which your assets are detained from you by those who impose that Constitution. Because we have proof in the document itself. We have proof in the document itself that we did not make that Constitution. Decree number 24 of 1999, by which Absalom Abubakar promulgated that decree, that Constitution, spelled out step by step how he came about the Constitution. He says he formed a committee, a Constitution debate committee that went round, and most people wanted a return to 1979 Constitution, and therefore his Armed Forces Ruling Council accepted that report and made modification as they deemed fit, and passed into and proclaimed what they have modified as the Constitution 1999. It is written in black and white. Anybody who knows any lawyer anywhere, especially those lawyers who have been presenting themselves as experts in constitutional law in Nigeria, but who are not telling the people that the source of their misery is that modified as the Constitution 1999.
Sorry.
Yes. The people that imposed the Constitution told the story in Decree number 24 of 1999. Absalom Abubakar signed off on that decree. And every provision in that Constitution, including the ones that absolve the government of responsibility towards the citizen, for the young people who poured out on the street, wondering why they have been excluded from the economy of Nigeria in the manner we see. The tap from which that situation is flowing for you is Section 6, subsection 6C of the Constitution. That section suspends that all of your entitlement in the social contract contained in the chapter 2 of the Constitution. It is in that chapter 2 that all the good things of life are listed for the citizen. Every good thing you can imagine is loaded in that chapter 2. Oh, that the first business of government is your welfare and your security. That everybody shall be treated equally, so that nobody is preferred, before the other. All kinds of platitudes, goodness, everything you may want to have as citizen is loaded into that chapter 2. But section 6, subsection 6C, I want the young people, anybody who can read and write, anybody who can write down his name by himself is able to ask the lawyers, the civil society people, all of those that say they are human rights activists, you are slaves in this land on account of that constitution that takes away in black and white all of what is due to you by virtue of that section 6, subsection 6C. Let journalists, let media people who are listening, ask all those lawyers that come to run their mouths in their studios, whether on account of that section 6, subsection 6C, the government owes you any obligation for housing or education or food or security. The answer is no. Any lawyer that says, especially the ones that have been encouraging you to go to court to exercise your right, that anything contained in that chapter 2, all the things that accrue to you under that chapter 2 have been rendered non-justiciable, have been nullified by that section 6, subsection 6C. Breaking it down further, the government under that provision does not owe you any obligation at all as citizen. Anything they do for you, that's why they spend more money advertising the things they do as if they borrowed money from their father's business to go to do it. Anything they do for you, anything they do, whether they build school or they build roads or they build hospital or anything that comes to you because government has spent money, they are doing it out of the milk of human kindness. They do not owe you any obligation, and it is in black and white. As long as that constitution is standing, that provision is the source of the number one source of the poverty that has climbed the hills of Nigeria to the extent we have seen. If that provision is removed, 80% of the problems of the citizen will begin to disappear, because you will then discover that the chapter 2 compels government to provide for you before it begins to spend on itself. But because of the insincerity of those who impose that instrument, it is presented as you having a bunch of rights, a basket of rights, but that right is taken away with that one clause. Again, we come to impunity. You are wondering why so much is going on and nobody's in prison. Section 6, subsection 6D also makes provision for how you cannot question all the things that were done between the 15th of January in 1966 and the 29th of May in 1999. 33 years of
mystery,
absolute immunity. The immunity provisions continue in section 308 for those who are now in office, installed by those who are under the first immunity of 33 years, because they are the ones who stole everything that Nigeria owned for themselves. And they say nobody can question however they did, whether they killed 1 million people or 3 million people to get there, whether the assets they seized are still being missed and demanded by those who lost it to them, including the oil and gas of the Niger Delta, all of those who are now the owners of the concessions. The reason why nobody has been able to question anything about what was done by decree between 1966 and 1999 is that provision.
Can I jump in there for a second? I'm going to let you continue. Yes. Could it be that English is the problem that caused all this? People doesn't understand English?
What of the lawyers? What of the lawyers in the land, the senior advocates, the professors?
Sometimes professors are idiots, you know that.
I have sat down with them And in the coming days, their names will be all over the place. They are dishonest. The ones who I felt, and when I say I, let nobody misunderstand it. A whole number of people are involved in what we are doing. But when I say I mean personally sitting down eyeball to eyeball with these people who I now say are dishonest. Those senior advocates, those professors of law, every one of them who have been in the public space. Every one of them who have been in public space. You understand? We went to them thinking, let us even just explain to them, including the authors of that constitution, including the authors of the 1979 edition. And I'm talking to Ben Wabweze is still alive. He's the one that crafted on the instruction of Murtala Mohammed with Rotimi Williams as the one who brought him in. They were the ones who crafted what became the 1979 constitution. All the things we see in the 99, like I already explained, that they said that many people, talked about going back to 1979. Even the 1979 constitution was that kind of a foundation. We are building on a damaged foundation because we go back to that preamble. Everything I've said so far, the implication of that preamble is that you are the one who agreed that the government should not owe you any obligation to provide anything for you. You are the one who agreed that those who are stealing the Commonwealth should be questioning or investigation. You are the ones who agreed on the 68 items on the exclusive list that take away the guns from you, while the enemy can come and kill you at will and take your assets. You are the one who agreed that you cannot generate electricity by virtue of that preamble. So for those who gather in the National Assembly pretending they are the ones who have to make constitution for us, the business, that discussion, like we already see, that discussion of we the people should be happening exclusively between those who are submitting their lands and their people into the union. The Yoruba sitting in their sovereign space, the Ijaw sitting in their sovereign space with all their assets and their sovereignty. The Idoma, the Tiv, the Berom, the Kataf, and all of those who you call Nigerians, they are the ones with the exclusive responsibility for committing themselves into the union. There's a video I wanted you to play, especially the first 5 minutes and the portion from the 10th minute, 10 minutes 20 seconds to the end, so that when I pause from this introductory part, I will want you to play that video so that you can, so that our viewers can hear it from some of the lawyers they know, at least one, Olisa Bakoba, who were at the Institute of International Affairs in Lagos, discussing this same matter in the presence of an audience of enlightened people. And Olisa did agree at the time that the people that two things must happen from the problem we have arising from this 1999 constitution. That the first claim that we have agreed has to be resolved by bringing those who are going to be in the union, who want to ask them whether they want to be in the union. The Yoruba had to answer that question by way of referendum, because those two issues arising from the two false claims in that preamble that we have submitted ourselves, that's one big issue. And that is the one that puts the matter completely outside the hands of the National Assembly. The only way to resolve that is to get those who will be in the union to agree to be in the union. And it's only by referendum that will happen. They have to vote in a referendum to say they want to be in the union. The second one will then be, when they have agreed to be in the union, they will elect those who will go to sit down, whether you call them Constituent Assembly, but it cannot be the National Assembly that is the product of that constitution that is being rejected. Because what is going on now is that Everybody has now come to the realization that that constitution is the source of their misery. And there's a consensus, a rapidly growing consensus, including from among the young people who came out to the street. Yes, SARS was the prompt, but I clearly remember seeing video clips, even on your station, taken from the Lekki Tollgate epicenter of the protest, where the protesters were saying so on the podium, that constitution is that 1999 constitution is the source of all the miseries they have been lamenting all these years, and that their demand will be the extermination of that, the extinguishment of that source of turning off the tap, that constitution has to be decommissioned, like South Africa had to do with apartheid, like Chile has chosen to do with their military-imposed constitution that came in 1999. Just 2 weeks ago, Chile has come to the realization, to the common sense of doing away with what does not work. But people gather in Abuja, including people from all the parts, holding on to a forgery, holding on to a fraud as the basis of the union, and telling the rest of us that they have now taken over our sovereignty. Again, another specific provision that will provide clarity. Let those who can take note, take note. Because unless we realize these things, we are just heading to a catastrophic collapse of this union. Because those who are being killed, those whose assets have been detained, those whose lives have been rendered unlivable, those who have to trek to the Mediterranean through the desert and died in these numbers, those who have become slaves, trapped in foreign lands, being killed, their organs are being harvested in thousands and thousands and thousands every day, because their homeland, their country has ejected them. The ones who are still here are being pursued and killed in the manner we have seen all over the place, all coming from the false claim that we have submitted ourselves into a union of debt, a union of attrition. And we are telling all of those, everybody have been shouting and crying, those who want restructuring, those who say they are fed up, they want to leave. The simple starting point in this discussion must be to acknowledge that we have not made that constitution. To give a time-bound commitment to how to decommission, how to jettison wholesale. Not one alphabet will be taken from that constitution on account of these things. And if anybody wants to know why, again, I refer us to section 14, subsection 2A of that constitution. Section 14, subsection 2A is where you find the proof that unless you make the constitution, unless the constituents, the sovereign constituents, the sub-nationalities make the constitution, anybody else who is writing any document, just like the shareholders of the company are the only ones who can write their memo and article, not the hired management, which is what government is, including the National Assembly, including the federal government. They are all parts of the hired, including the judiciary. They are all parts of the hired management in the enterprise Nigeria. The owners of the enterprise are the ones who could be countries of their own if that Nigeria was not occupying their space. For Nigeria to occupy their space, there has to be a discussion, a clear-minded discussion in which they will commit. And that was done the last in Lancaster House. That was the basis of Nigeria becoming one country as independent. And they settled all the terms that there will be a federation, that they will have all kinds of things, working in all kinds of ways. All those things have been thrown away since 1966. The 5 constitutions that defined that federation have been jettisoned, and we have one constitution. In which federation will you have one constitution? And lawyers are going about saying that they want to draft constitution. Ben Wabweze did that for many years, including up to Jonathan's tenure, going to say that he will have to draft one constitution for a federation like Nigeria. Olisa Bokoba has again joined in that stupidity. I was reading with shock the memorandum he sent to National Assembly drafting constitution or a bill for the amendment that will become restructuring. If the National Assembly accepts to do that, at what point would the Yoruba be discussing with the Ijo and the Igbo and the Doma and the Tiv in what will become constitution? For somebody who had publicly stated And I want the viewers to see that video so that they can understand the depth of wickedness we're discussing. And it's not only him. Most of all these lawyers and professors and senior advocates parading all over the place. They are the reason why the people who should know. And this is a challenge to the Nigerian Bar Association. We have engaged them in private. Since the time Olisa Bakoba was president of Bar Association, there's nothing I've said here that the Bar Association has not been confronted with in private. But they are more interested in what they get from a rotten system, from a system that is bleeding all over the place, from a system that is consuming the constituents. Let the Bar Association come out to tell us their position on this. Let the men of God in the land come out and tell us their position on this, because we have also engaged them without exception. We went to show them. We went to show them the source of the misery of their flock, but they were more interested in private jets and private universities. And look at what it has become for everybody, 21 years running. And people are still discussing how to go to election in 2023 under this wars and apartheid constitution, not minding whether millions of people die further from those who already died, not minding whether poverty increases beyond what it is, not minding that the young people who have done their part, they've gone to school, they've done everything. You lock them out of the economy. And you expect that they're going to, that peace will reign in that foundation of injustice.
They're wasting their time. Let's watch the video. Let's watch the video, the first video from that the Voice of Reasoning. Let's watch the video from the Voice of Reason. I'm gonna play from
2018.
Yeah, I'm gonna play from 2 minutes 15 seconds. Yeah, let's have a look at it.
Its VOR Leadership Series themed Restructuring, a panacea for justice and peace in Nigeria, at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, Victoria Island, Lagos. The Voice of Reason, VOR, is a group of eminent Nigerians of Yoruba extraction who are accomplished professionals who focus on public good issues within the strategic context of effective, good, result-oriented governance of Nigeria in general and of Yoruba land in particular. The discussants at the colloquium were former President, Nigeria Bar Association, Dr. Olisa Agbakoba, environmental and human rights activist, Ann Kio Briggs, Secretary, Lower Niger Congress, LNC, Mr. Nnadi, son of late Alhaji Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Dr. Abdul Jalil Tafawa Balewa. The discussion was moderated by the chairman, Space FM, Otumba Dejo Shibogun. The chairman of the occasion was the co-founder, Eko Hospitals, Olurogun Dr. Sani Kuku. The event formally began with the discussants taking turns to address the topic of discussion. The first discussant was Dr. Olisa Agbakoba. He said the sub-nationality were the ones who had the political discussion on the arrangement Nigeria made prior to independence. He noted that the discussion made then gave birth to the 1960 and 1963 constitutions, adding that before deciding on a type of constitution for our country, we must identify those willing to be part of the country called Nigeria, because without that, we cannot have a constitution, especially when there are no clear conceptual agreements between one group and the other. Dr. Olisa Agbakoba said, in his view, Nigeria is a failed state because decision-making revolves around the Federal Capital Territory. He cited the federal allocation policy to buttress his point.
Before we discuss what type of constitution, we must identify those who will be part of Nigeria. We can't go to have a constitution when it is not clear what the conceptual arrangements will be between one group and the other. Having said that, my own view is that Nigeria is a failed state. So the creative energy of Nigeria is trapped in this pyramid where somebody at the top, called the president, decides everything. So the energy to revamp this process is what VOR is about. We need to have creative energy. I feel, with due respect, there are far too many old people in the room. Far too many old people. You need to expand the discussion. Far too many. Including myself, at 65,
Plus TV.
and yourself,
Come on. You say?
far too many. So the discussion is not animated or exciting, because we've all seen our various times. We're tired. We've got to make this conversation energetic and engage the youth. A very brilliant point that she made.
On the issue of restructuring, Dr. Olisagbakopa said, before restructuring can take place, the medium of communication between one region and the other needs to be accommodating in order not to be offensive to any region. He advised that utmost caution must be taken when deliberating on restructuring.
If you want to restructure, you must take into account the 36 states. What are the views of the various subnational entities? My criticism is that the restructure debate in the South offends the North. Like it or not, it offends the North. So if you want to restructure, then your language must be accommodating. It has to be accommodating. It has to be accommodating. If it is not, then we'll just talk about restructure, and they in the North will laugh. Nothing will happen. So I will urge that utmost caution is shown. We know what we want. I know what I want from the Southeast. It's very clear that I will readily adopt their only accords. I don't know if anyone has read it. All what is said here in the Constitution has said. We all know it. It's been said. The challenge, how do you deliver this restructure? Then I would say that we miss understanding what goes on in the North. The crucial point. If the idea is to restructure, because we have to be clear, there is no suggestion that we must restructure. There are options. One is that we can break up.
Environmental and human rights activist Ann Q. Briggs was next to mount the podium. In her remarks, she said the amalgamation of Nigeria is the burden Nigeria carries today, stressing that until the issue of amalgamation is addressed and a new constitution created, the burden will remain. She noted that some politicians have become armed robbers and thieves who believe they are above the law.
Political opponents today have become armed robbers, they have become gun runners and thieves. Now, for those of them who brought themselves to this point, I can only say serve you right. There is no rule of law in Nigeria today. So if we have a new constitution, these are the things that this new constitution will have to take into consideration. And corruption is not restricted only to one area. Corruption is a crime. And so if we're going to come up with another constitution, which I believe we should, these are also the things that we will also put into place. We are in a government today that, as we all know, we're seated here today. Some people are being blackmailed, being threatened, being arrested. So many people that speak this day are very bold, and that there are many meanings to restructuring. And so it cannot choose the one that all Nigerians will accept as restructuring. And key into the idea that it is either you want Nigeria to remain as one country or you want Nigeria to break up. None of those ones is a criminal offense. It's a right. You have the right to choose. Because we are different people that make up this country. And so if we want, and if you are one of those people that believe that after 100 years that you want out of Nigeria, that's your right. And if we are going to move forward, and that's where I agree with my brother, if you're going to move forward, then the question must be asked to the people who want to be in Nigeria. And so that identifies who Nigerians are.
This was followed by an educative interactive session between the participants and the discussants. The third speaker, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Nyam, retired, in his view said, "We're in a country where the social, political and economical powers have been hijacked for the selfish purpose of the hijackers." He added that the restructuring of the national security architecture is meaningless under the present military constitution, citing the United States of America as a typical example. Lieutenant Colonel Tony Nyam, retired, said, "In Nigeria, we use the word national to mean one Nigeria, as opposed to its real meaning." He stressed that socialization of corruption in Nigeria cannot be done away with, except there is a background check to eliminate the root cause of corruption.
Can the institutionalization of corruption in Nigeria be effectively done away without an address of the underlying conditions, which are the root causes, the means of sustaining corruption, and the cover-up of the national grant? If the present situation of the federal government illegitimately confiscating the Niger Delta and the Lagos State people's respectively natural resources and VAT, is it not an example of institutional corruption? What is not corruption? With this mother of all corruption, the outcomes of the present practices of governance would most likely be crooked. What's worse, the Nigerian Independent National Electoral Commission is only independent in name. There are no serious constitutional basis for the present Electoral Commission to be free from the president's control. Let's stop deluding ourselves. The existing Nigerian political economic system has been structured to be corrupting of the minds of the country's leaders.
The next speaker, Mr. Tony Nnadi, Secretary, Lower Niger Congress, LNC, said, "For restructuring to take place, there must be a consensus at different regions, as the campaign for restructuring is for equity." He cited a personal experience on the need for restructuring in the country, adding that the Union of 1914, which was imposed by the British government, should be revisited, as the basis of the union cannot be sustained anymore.
Do we want to continue in this union? If the answer is yes, and nobody is going to go to answer that question on behalf of any group, the Yoruba will have to decide in-house, and the Voice of Reason has said so in the past. The Yoruba will have to decide in-house in a referendum, conducted however they do it, to first commit to wanting to continue. So also the other blocks. The two organizations I'm associated with, the Movement for New Nigeria is a aggregation of all the groups that are saying this is not working for us. Many are saying, are we to go to renew our enslavement by way of another election under the constitution? If we go, they will have another 4 years. Don't let us deceive ourselves. There may be people who want to be governor and senator. We're not in that case. We say, let those already elected remain where they are. Let us undertake this emergency reconstruction, which is like moving Nigeria into the operation theater. Otherwise, if we don't, of course, it will then be a choice to allow that Nigeria to die.
Dr. Abdul Jalil Tafa Balewa also gave a stand on the topic of discussion.
We have people ruling that cannot even think beyond their elbows. What type of educational systems we need in Nigeria to be able to progress? No government. Since my father's time, I keep repeating, I've ever thought of how many students we have in primary school, secondary school, at the universities. That's why we have so much employment. Not all of our youth need to go to university. We need to be able to create a middle class. Our constitution needs to be able to follow this, because since I have been back, I have seen something that because of the pollution of our psyche that we have inherited from military rule, Nigerians respond very quickly to order. It takes 4 days for them to be able to respond to a particular order.
The event was brought to an end with a vote of thanks by Dr. Olufemi Adegoke from Biscon Communications. It's congratulations to the Voice of Reason, VOR, on the successful hosting of its first colloquium.
Okay, Mr. T, let's go back to this one.
Good
Let's go back
grammar
to
and
some of
spelling
these
are
things we're
important,
discussing.
but if you want to write
This video, even though it's just a summary of what happened at that conference, but it's very, very disheartening. Some of the things that was highlighted there. Because when you look at it, you just look at it and said, where is this video all this while? What happened to this video all this while? Where is this? Why don't we know about some of the things they discussed here? One, some of these people at this discussion, I strongly believe, instead of listening to the people giving the speech, some of them was having discussion within themselves. Thank God the video didn't show any one of them falling asleep on the chair that day, like they always do in the house. So, and things are getting clearer and clearer that it is not only one area we have to fight. There's so many areas that has gone wrong with this our country called Nigeria. And this is why everybody, even the dog in that country, wants to leave that country. I'm sure. Unless they do the needful thing. Give us your take on that clip we just watched, Tony.
Yes, the reason the reason I wanted you to play it to the hearing of our viewers, to the seeing of our viewers, is that those who are pretending they no longer understand what the problems are, are the ones more than anybody else responsible for what we're in. I'm sure you heard Olisa Bokoba say very clearly that we can't be talking about writing any constitution except the constituents, those who will be federating, agree. Yeah. He called them sub-nationalities. That's the Yoruba sitting down with the Ijaw and the Ogoni and the Igbo and the Idoma, as claimed in that preamble that we the people, that is the meaning of that we the people. What Olisa Bokoba was explaining is the meaning of that we the people. To sit down and clear-mindedly commit their lands and their people into the union to be called Nigeria. And therefore, to go to another meeting of writing the terms of that union, that's the one you call the constitution, the union agreement. If you are avoiding, like Nigeria have been avoiding since after 1967 Aburi, Nigeria have been avoiding that discussion because the discussion that took place in Lancaster House had been overtaken by the collapse of the Nigerian Federation. Nigerian Federation collapsed in 1966. The attempt to revive it in Aburi was, more or less frustrated by those who picked up arms and began to shoot at other people to have their way. And it is what the constitution we have on the table now is the victory charter from that armed and forced, union in which more than 3/4, as I speak with you, more than 80% do not want to have any further thing to do with that union. That is now a union of death for them, a union of attrition. And so, if knowing all of that, Olisa Bokoba comes in 2020, 2 years from 2018, to draft a constitution, to draft a bill by which the restructuring will be undertaken and sent to National Assembly. What has changed? What is it trying to do now? On behalf of who is he making that kind of proposition? Has he suddenly lost the knowledge he had in 2018 about what the problem is. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And as it is with Olisa Bakoba, so it is with Femi Falana, so it is with all of these lawyers who are senior advocates and professors of law parading all over the place. Some of them are in the Senate, pretending that our sovereignty now vests in the National Assembly or in the government. Section 14.2a I was talking about, I want our people to make notes and to confront those dishonest lawyers, those dishonest senior advocates, those dishonest professors of law, those dishonest leadership of the Bar Association. Confront them with those specifics. Section 14.2a of the 1999 Constitution admits that sovereignty, I'm quoting now, it says, sovereignty belongs to the people from whom government, through this Constitution, derives all its powers and authority. Full stop. Again, I repeat, sovereignty belongs to the people from whom government, through this Constitution, derives all its powers and authority. What does that mean? Until the Yoruba, the Ijo, the Ogoni, the Idoma, the Igbo sit down and submit their sovereignty and then captures that their agreement for doing that in a document called Constitution, no document can become Constitution because it is an incident of their sovereignty. Constitutions are made with constituent powers, which is an incident of sovereignty. The National Assembly is like part of the management team of a company coming to say, we are now the one to write your memo and article, and they have removed our names from and our shareholding from the memo and article that brought us together in 1960. From what they were doing since 1967, having overthrown the constitutions, the 5 constitutions that define the Federation of Nigeria. And so where we are now is that those who did not know before are getting to know now. Let nobody deceive himself. And this is not a matter that guns can resolve. If anybody is stupid enough to think that guns will resolve this matter, at a time people are already being killed in the numbers we have seen, at a time people realize it is on account of forgery, on account of putting their signature on a document they did not make, that you have seized all their assets and assumed for yourself the right of life and death over them, creating states by decree that now make them minority in the places where they are where they are clear majority. The 36 states that were created, the 7 and 4 local government areas that were created, the 68 items exclusive list by which the assets and the rights of the constituents were sequestered by a rogue federal government that emerged at a time the federation had collapsed, and which has now been hijacked by a section of the country, the Fulani. That's what we're living with. But my message on behalf of all of those who are choking, because I happen to be co-convener of that alliance, bringing together all of those who are choking in southern Nigeria and Middle Belt. I happen to be co-convener of that alliance called the MNN, Movement for New Nigeria, which is actually Movement for No Nigeria, since we don't want to discuss Nigeria. The question on the lips of all of these groups, whether they are the ones talking about Odua Republic or the ones talking about Biafra Republic, the question on their lips, or the ones talking about resource control in the Niger Delta, or the ones who are wondering why Fulani will come to kill them in Benue in these numbers, in South Africa in these numbers, with the governor who is Fulani supervising the genocide himself. All of them, what they are asking at this time is, what is Nigeria? If Nigeria has become the reason why they have to die, then to hell with that Nigeria. That's what they are saying. They are not rejecting Nigeria, the federation. They are rejecting Nigeria, the unitary state. A world of difference. The one they call one Nigeria is that Nigeria of imposition. The one they want is the Nigeria of agreement. The Nigeria of agreement is still possible today. But the first order of business is that those who are swearing to defend and uphold that constitution, those who are drawing power and authority from a constitution that was not made by the people, must now accept that the union can no longer be carried, that the union can no longer be sustained on the basis of the forgery. That was how Rotimi Williams described it in 1999. 3 weeks after Absalom imposed that constitution, the lawyers gathered to review what has been done. Obasanjo didn't see that constitution until he was sworn into office because they were trying to hide something. Eventually, everybody began to read it and the meeting was called. 1999. Rotimi Williams described the 1999 constitution as a forgery and a fraud. All of these platforms that have been discussing what we do about those things, of which I've been involved very deeply too, that called a meeting of the owners of Nigeria. That's the constituents that are supposed to be discussing, the nationalities. That was what came out as PRONACO in 2005, after 3-4 years of consultations and mobilization. We had 164 ethnic delegations. We sat in Lagos, we sat in Port Harcourt, we sat in Enugu, we went to Jos and Kano, we came back to Lagos to conclude. For 2 years, we were discussing these issues. How do we refloat the ship of the Federation of Nigeria? Is there no how we can come to discussion and agreement? And we had those discussions. Buhari was part of the Fulani delegation that came to that meeting. Syed Abubakar was part of the Fulani delegation that participated. Bola Tinubu, who now is a chief driver of APC, was governor in Lagos. He was governor in Lagos that more than anybody else facilitated that conference. Fashola, the now Minister of Works now, was his chief of staff who mediated in terms of all of what they had to make available to those who were struggling with Obasanjo at the time. Because Obasanjo said we were committing treason for calling a meeting of the owners of Nigeria. In his mind, the government had become the custodians of our sovereignty. That is treason. All of those who are clinging onto that constitution that we did not make are committing treason against the rest of us. Worse still, those from the other part, from the South and Middle Belt, whether they are senators or they are house members or they are councillors or they are governors or state assembly members, all of them from Southern and Middle Belt Nigeria who are swearing to defend and uphold that constitution. The political parties who go to elections under a constitution that is being repudiated by their own people, all of them are committing treason against the rest of us. And in the coming days, when things begin to snap, because things are bound to snap.
Definitely.
Things are bound to snap.
Definitely.
These young people who now realize that they are being deceived by a very wicked generation. Where do you want them to go? They go overseas, they are being chased all around the place. They come back and you begin to call them all kinds of names. The president will say they're lazy when you lock them out of the economy. And then we saw the kind of nasty things being said by those who are sharing the blood of the people they claim to represent. The governors go to collect 5 billion, 10 billion every month, knowing fully well that no part of that money is meant for their people. And we can see where the monies have gone in terms of what they do for themselves. The senators and the house members who are now insisting that our sovereignty belongs to them. The ones from South and Middle Belt sitting in Abuja, sitting in government houses across the South and Middle Belt, swearing to defend and uphold this worse than apartheid constitution. This might be the last warnings you will get. This might be the last notice you will get for what will befall you for being a part of the killing of your people. I do not blame any Fulani man for trying to retain what their great-grandfather Ahmadu Bello handed down to them. I do not blame anybody from those Sharia states for trying to retain what Ahmadu Bello helped them secure. I blame those from the south and the middle belt who know. The ones who do not know, let them know now. But the ones who know, and I can tell you, the senators know, the House of Assembly members know, the House of Representative members know, because they have been approached, they have been told. The men of God in the land know. We wrote them letters. We showed them what we were doing. Somebody like Bakare knows. But look at what they've done. The only thing that can, the only peaceful opportunity left for this matter to be resolved is for us to accept at this time that that constitution was not made by the people, like South Africa accepted in 1990, that the apartheid constitution of master and servant, every single thing that went into apartheid constitution is present in this constitution.
This one too, yeah.
Every single thing, it was designed as a constitution of master and servant. The Boers did their own in South Africa in 1910. The British and their Fulani friends did our own in 1914. The documents by which they did all this are now in free circulation.
Yes.
These young people you thought do not know anything, I can assure you they know a lot more than you know about what the problem is right now. The documents by which Nigeria was created by the British are in their hands as we speak. All of the constitutional instruments to enable the criminal enterprise that Nigeria was designed to be, to remain. Nigeria was designed to be a criminal enterprise by the British who set it up. And that joint venture between the British and the Caliphate is still in place. 3 million barrels of crude oil still being sold every day in the name of that joint venture. The proceeds of it being shared by that joint venture among themselves. And the stakeholders, the renegades from our parts. Anybody from South and Middle Belt Nigeria that will swear to defend and uphold that constitution is the enemy we're looking for at this time. Let nobody make any mistakes about that. Anybody that can be identified on the side of that constitution is the enemy, that those who are choking, those who are being killed, those whose future are being ruined. That large crowd you saw, I'm not talking about the criminals who went looting, taking things from other people and setting fires on all the places. We're talking about people who are now demanding that their sovereignty be brought back to the table for renegotiation. The enemy that will be their prime engagement are those from South and Middle Belt of Nigeria who are doing business under this apartheid constitution for the humongous benefits they get. They know that the citizens are locked out, but they are doing it, they are clinging onto that constitution because of what it gives to them. That's the only reason. Every month you go and collect 50 million, 40 million, and you are discussing 18,000 naira for other people. The Nigerian Labour Congress, I say unto you, shame. Shame on you that you do not want to play any part in how the people you claim to represent will come out from the misery and the growing poverty that is swallowing them. We have approached this project has approached all of the stakeholder groups, the Bar Association, the labor movement, the church in Nigeria. None of them is interested in solving this problem. And that's why a few people, less than 1%, all of the armed forces of Nigeria, the civil servants of the country's population. Do we have 2 million civil servants, including the army and police? Less than 1% of the country hanging onto an instrument that takes everything from everybody. And people from all the sides go to take their own portion of the benefit. That has come to an end. That constitution must now go. Anybody who wants to keep that constitution is bent on destroying whatever is left of this union. The choice we have to make now, the fight to save the Union of Nigeria was lost a long time ago, since after Aburi was abandoned.
I think people are trying to get out of Tony. That is why they keep taking his internet connections away from his device. I'm so sorry. He should be back shortly. While we're waiting for him to come back, this is becoming shameful and shameful every day with the amount of problems that is being revealed. And it's not eating anymore. A lot of people are finding out about this massive problem because it's a massive problem. It's not just a problem, but a massive problem because, like Tony said, it's not hidden anymore. It's in the public domain now. All these issues are in the public domain. And it won't take long before everybody gets to realize what is going on, like I'm finding out now. So everybody knows this is complete fake before. And did you hear what Tony was saying today? Tony said this country died already. Tony said he doesn't think anybody can save Nigeria anymore. And it's a shame. You go to Abuja every month, collect so many millions, and you're looking at a citizen with 18,000 naira, 20,000 naira, 40,000 naira a month to live on. When a bag of rice is 30,000 naira or so. So by the time they buy a bag of rice, are they not going to pay their rent? Or those people on less than 50,000 naira, are they not supposed to eat rice? So if the wife brings 30,000, the husband brings 30,000, that's 60,000. They pay their house rent, they buy a bag of rice, and they're not going to cook. What are they going to eat the rice with? But some people are doing exotic car collections. These people are wicked. And they're not ready to change because they're benefiting grossly from this fraud. They're seriously benefiting from it, so they don't have the intention of changing at all. All they want to do is to climb onto this system, to this arrangement, so that they can keep benefiting from it. Our people are becoming evil and evil and evil every day. They're just becoming evil. I think Tony's phone actually died. It's okay. I think it's just put it back on now, so we should have him back shortly. The evil being perpetrated in our country is becoming bigger and bigger every day. And they're using gun to defend all this. We must all work together to bring this thing down. Sometimes when I hear all these things, it became very, very painful to me that I cannot even bear it anymore sometimes. I can't take it. And then some people said, okay, maybe the best thing to do is to do farming. You had the woman yesterday that they put cows onto a farm that eat all our produce. Where do you start from? They've completely overrun everything that belongs to another man. And anybody that takes another man's sin that doesn't belong to him is a thief. So these guys are complete thieves. Complete thieves. But they don't care. They don't mind. Call them anything. They don't care. Do you think they care about you? Do you think they care for you? Do you think they're considering you? No, they're not. They're not even considering anybody. I want to appreciate everybody who has joined us this morning on all the platforms we're streaming to. I can just go through a few on YouTube. Michelle Bello, Aki Akifenwa from Abeokuta, thank you very much. And the host of others, Bay City, thank you very much for joining. Samuel Dada on Facebook, Princess Adebimpe Adeyemi Awoni, thank you very much for joining. Adeyinka Adechichu. Oh, are they doing Adeyinka's Ade's competition today on Facebook? Okay, I've seen other names. I was thinking all the names is Ade today. Bashiru, thank you. Okafo, thank you very much. Yeah. Shawabi, thank you. Shola Demi, thank you very much for joining this morning. Gani Alagbara, thank you guys for joining. I want to say a very big thank you to all the people that have joined this morning. I want to say a very massive thank you, because without you, we cannot be doing what we're doing here. We're still waiting for Tony to come back. Hopefully, he should be back shortly. I want to say a very big thank you to all the people who has joined this morning, because without you, we cannot be doing what we're doing. Okay. So what we're going to do, I'm going to open the phone line while we're waiting for Tony. The number to call for this, because someone just requested it, and what I like about this show and this company is we don't run things by ourselves. We run things together. And the way we run things together is that if you want something, you ask for it, we look at it, and if it's viable, if it's possible for us to provide it, we will always provide it for you guys. I think I have someone trying to call in already. If you're trying to call into the program, you can call back straight away, because the phone was on silence before. So I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit so that I can actually hear you now when you call. Please, when you call, go straight to your point. Solution to this: we know without you leaving, you're wasting your time. The only thing you could do is to leave these fraudulent amalgamation. Very, very fraudulent. Okay, I think I have the caller calling back now. Hello, good morning, caller. Are you trying to join the program? You have a comment for us on the program? Thank you, sir. What's your question? What do you want to say to us? Okay, go ahead, sir. What's your contribution?
I believe in every problem there is only solution.
True, sir.
But the solution now entails if the people are ready to bring about a solution. Because from what Mr. Tony Nnadi said, what is difficult in having somebody like Mr. Tony Nnadi and the other people that they know that the constitution is wrong to come together and have a third force party in that country? What is the pride? What is the ego that is disturbing everybody to come together? Like people like Showore has been coming out, they should call him and let's talk together. Neutral people on a neutral level. Now that we have NSAT, now that we have awakened the spirits of the Nigerian youth, they should now see the opportunity in political education. How to educate our people that the constitution is strong, many things is strong, and how to go about the next election. Because if there will be an election in that country in 2023, I think it is now time to bring good minds together that can solve this problem. And let everybody put their egos aside. That I'm this party, I'm this movement, I'm this and that. Like all our brothers that are wanting to separate, they can't separate with violence because these people are evil. The Vision 2020 of Nigeria has been accomplished because the Fulani supremacy is in power now. That is why they use presidency because they are deciding. Now they roll out about a month or 2 months ago, Vision 2050. The Vision 2050 has started already the cleansing of ethnicity. They want to be killing some people in order to gain their land. And now Dangote is there in Lagos, occupying everything. In the next 20 years, if we continue this way, no tribe will have power over the Fulani again. We can't continue blowing grammars, and we have people that are with brains in the southern region. What is difficult for the southerners, the middle belt, to form a strong force? And let's have about 40 million of votes. where we can solve this problem once and for all, so that we can go to the National Assembly and change the constitution, because these people will never change the constitution, whether we like it or not. We continue pointing fingers to Bola Tinubu, we continue pointing fingers to the rest of the people in power. They will never change it, because Bola Tinubu and the rest are making from this system. So if we really want to get them out of the power, we need to go through political means, which is the political election. And I think we can get it right if we start the political education, letting the touts to know that they're being robbed off of their destiny. And it can be done, which everybody can put aside their pride. Pride is what is disturbing us. Most educated people in Nigeria are not ready to come together and do the right thing.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your contribution. I will say something to you before you go, because now Tony has been feeding me with all this information, so I'm getting to understand. It's like the lecturer giving you so much information. After sometimes you get to understand some few things yourself. Number one, like you said, the political elite will not change the constitution because they're actually benefiting from it. I thank you for realizing that. And they're hiding so many things from us. The people who can hide palliative from their people, these guys are evil. I want to thank you for your contribution, sir. I hope Tony can put more light onto that when they come back to us on this program today. Thank you very much, sir. I have another caller who has been online for some time. I really appreciate everybody calling in this morning. Even though it wasn't planned, it was an impromptu say call in if you have any contribution. You asked for it, I gave it to you because it's very, very important. Let's take this caller. Caller, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from. Hello, your name and where you're calling from, sir.
Your name and where you're calling from.
Could you turn your system down, please?
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, your name and where you're calling from, and then go ahead.
My name is David, and I'm calling from UK here.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Based on this, Mr. Anthony's discussions, it's my man, I know, but I'm still repeating the same thing. If you can now try, as he has opened up some names, based on this thing, if you can put him at one side and call those people he's talking about on a live something like this and let people question them about this constitution alone. If you can reach out to them like Baba Falana, this Obakoba, if you can reach out to them, this may be better so that we can hear their own side of the opinion and we can now know where we are going and where we are. And at the same time, let me still tell you this. This is within Igbo and Yoruba. That is what happened. I said last time that these Fulani people, what do they call it? They were doing
Kabas.
The
Kabas.
Not Kabas, they were doing this thing in Kari Wama Bagun, Modigbabe, Asasi Timoso.
Yeah.
So, Can Wama Bako, yeah, they were not well read like the West and the Igbos. But those that say they were well read, they will be using that education to against themselves for their own benefit.
Yeah.
So it's not left for us to look inward. Not if when the Ubatama Sunsin, it be Odu Tinubu, there be a property and a so as a they think they were benefiting from the system, but they were selling others as a slave to them, including themselves. Because they are the leaders and they will
yes.
These are the things that are going on with people looking worldly. And the main solution is if you can reach out to them, number one. Number two, constitutionally, those that are Togbori Duro, if it is this their youth now, that are constitution, that are lawyers, we can reach out to and let us know way forward through this very constitution again, either to take them to international court or within Nigerian court and see what will happen with these youth lawyers, not to look at these old cargo lawyers. I think that will be the way forward, I think, if it can be considered.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your contribution there. We really appreciate it. The number to call has actually been pinned now. I've pinned the number to call if you want to call in and get involved with the program. People are asking for the number to call. I don't know how to pin number on Twitter, so I couldn't do that. Yeah, I have another caller. Good afternoon, caller. Your name and where you're calling from, sir. Hello, sir.
I have another caller. Good afternoon, caller. Your name.
Hello, sir. Yeah, your name. Could you turn your system down behind you? Your name and where you're calling from, sir.
Calling from Italy.
Thank you. Your contribution in the program this morning.
I'm on the program, or am I not right?
Yeah, you're on the program, sir.
Yeah. Kini Bonsosa. What is late? It's too late. Anyhow, a lot of people don't benefit. A lot of people don't benefit. You know, what is late yet? It's too late. How many years? They have been calling each other. I want to milk it from this. Devilish, all this. They are fake. Because what is late? What is your city say? Eti ko bonji me e wani ka ama queen e do konika kun lolo e everybody is then that's the solution where solution ko and joke is so it is solution la wasa we see down there they occupy every the corner of the country what the milky wa loju wasa e wani ka ama queen isa everybody lolo e everybody lawless. Constitution, she constitution tarawa. But one very bad Nigeria go along with Nigeria. We are going to divide.
Yes.
They go grammar or sit down and blowing grammar. We are not wasting our time.
Yes.
We are not wasting our time. Let's hit the nail on the head. When sitting down blowing grammar, you blowing grammar with the Fulani. The caliphate. So now we have to sit down with.
I asked Tony one question earlier on. I said, could it be the grammar that caused the problem? Could it be the grammar that caused the problem? I asked him, maybe they didn't, the Fulani, the people do this, because sometimes this could be our problem. In Nigeria, these elderly daddies and mommies, they don't want to speak to even their children at home. They don't want to.
Even they are elderly, they are milking from all the. They don't know. They knows. They knows. Now you see, I want to Yancy everything to fall. Now we will come and say, okay, let's call the elders. Now we sit down. Now we are saying let's call the elders from the northern now, the middle there, the Yoruba. Arrest some go concert.
Yeah.
Arrest some go concert. Only boya glory. La ma 5% to so kalon lo wow. Only mo ya àwọn èèyàn tó wà ní pé wọn lè sọ síta wọn ti ẹ fẹ́ ká yà rárá. Wọ́n mọ̀ pé nǹkan tó máa ṣẹlẹ̀ nìyẹn. Àpapọ̀ pé yẹn you are blowing grab us wọ́n ti predict a máa pín ni. Tí a bá pín àtúmọ̀ kò slavery yẹn á lè kú sà. Ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ń rí èmi náà ń rí. Ká máa dúpẹ́ pé Ọlọ́run tiẹ̀ ó fún wọn gbọ́ àwa àtẹ̀lé jáde síta. Àwọn ọmọ wa tó wà mẹ́rin kan tó lè jáde ńkọ́.
Wow.
One more education system wọ́n fọ́ lójú wọ́n certificate is nada nothing. ẹ tún breed wọn ẹ fún wọn ṣẹ́ n gbọ́dọ̀ mèèyàn kan òkè ẹ wo 18,000 bí èlò ní sálárì lọ́nà tó ń sọ fún wọn ẹ mọ ètò tí ń gé ní ètò kékeré kíní kan health náà dà.
But I want to appreciate you for calling. It's a shame because health, no health.
Wá jókòó àtọ́kẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ wọn àwọn yẹn máa gé gọ̀bì yẹn lọ́rọ̀ wọn máa kì wọn máa blow wọn máa cross ẹsẹ̀ wọn máa blow grammar ò sọ tẹ̀ health wọn. Aláti pín ni ó ti lọ ẹ wo ní sí l'Abuja sí wọ́n ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ṣùtà ọmọ wa l'Abuja wọ́n ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí kọ́nà lù wọ́n. Ẹyin náà wò náà kọ̀ọ̀sí ọ̀tẹ̀ gbẹ̀yìn lọ tẹ̀lé ọkọ̀ wọ́ bọ̀.
Ẹ lọ ṣe lẹ́yìn.
Tara ló mọ̀. Èmi ò mọ̀ èwe ò mọ̀ ẹ wá ń kéèkì lórí wa ẹ̀yìn alọ́bẹ̀ ẹ gba millions ẹ wá mú wọn kìíní ẹ drop ẹ fáwa. Ẹ wo nǹkan tí sílẹ̀ lójú wọn rí ni.
Yes.
Ẹ wo nǹkan tí sílẹ̀ rí ni. Ṣé wọ́n fàyà sìn? Ṣé wọ́n fàyà sìn? Abẹ́rẹ́ jábára ọ̀sùn tọrọ náà ẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ̀jẹ̀ ká ẹ̀yin náà mọ̀ Tony kan mọ̀.
Tony has changed his language this morning to say that.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni sá bẹ́ẹ̀ni Tony kan mọ̀ ó ti lé.
Okay, I want to say a very big thank you for that your contribution. Let me pick up some few more calls because the calls are crying.
Ẹ̀gbọ́n mi máa ń gbádùn ilé ni ó ti fi fà.
Mo really appreciate it, sir.
Mo máa ń gbádùn ilé ẹ̀gbọ́n.
Imagine sí wa rárá.
Jìnnà sí ẹ̀gbọ́n mo need the t-shirt mo ní gbogbo a lack of it.
Okay. When we finish the show, you can call me. We talk about.
Bọ̀dà ẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ̀dúró ẹ wo eyín kí ló wà lẹ́yìn yẹn.
Nigerian flag.
Kí ni nǹkan tó wà lẹ́yìn yẹn.
Nigerian flag.
Táwọn tí kò ní dáfún Nigerian flag. Nigerian flag ló wà lẹ́yìn.
Flag ni o.
Kí lẹ́bí sà.
Odùduwà flag ló fly lẹ́yìn wa.
That's the solution. Ẹ jẹun. Odùduwà gbé wa sà. That's the solution.
Ẹ ṣe mo really appreciate.
Bye-bye, sir.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Let's take the next caller. Next caller, please. Your name, where you're calling from, sir. Hello.
Yes, sir. Ẹjọ́ mo fẹ́ dá ètò ni o.
Ó yá, ẹgbọ́n sókè, sir.
All right, sir. Ẹjọ́ lórí nǹkan tí Mr. Tony sọ ni mo fẹ́ dá sí. And ẹni tó kọ́kọ́ sọ̀rọ̀ lákòókò wọ́n ti sọ òkodoro ọ̀rọ̀ bó ṣe yẹ kó jẹ́ before this last person sọ̀rọ̀. It's like the last person kan tó ń sọ wọn really get the program wọn follow program yẹn bí mo ṣe ń wo ni ẹ má bínú o nítorí pé nǹkan tí ọ̀rọ̀ tá à ń sọ náà ni pé a gbọ́dọ̀ pín bẹ́ẹ̀ bá a ṣe máa pín ọ̀nà tá a ṣe máa pín ni Mr. Tony sọ wípé wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ bring down that constitution so tó bá dẹ̀ jẹ́ wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ bring down that constitution kò sí bá a ṣe lè ṣe ju the advice tí ẹni tó kọ́kọ́ sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn sọ pé àwọn bóyá Fálànà àwọn Àgbákòbá àwọn gbogbo wọn yẹn kàn pè wọ́n bẹ́ẹ̀ tẹ́ bá lè bá wa pè wọ́n wá sórí ètò yìí kí Mr. Tony wá máa bèrè lọ́wọ́ nígbà tí Àgbákòbá wà lára àwọn tí wọ́n jọ kàn ṣe meeting àkọ́kọ́ tó ń ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tó wá lọ ń kọ another constitution lọ fún àwọn senate nsìn it shows kódà pé nǹkan míì ti ń ṣe lórí nìyẹn so wọ́n lè bá wa pè wá kẹjẹ́ ká gbọ́ lẹ́nu ẹ̀ kí ló fà á nígbà tó ti ní solution tó fẹ́ ṣe tí Mr. Tony dẹ̀ fún wa ní a very good suggestion pé báyìí constitution sá.
tó ń sọ gbogbo bó ṣe jẹ́ fún wa tó ń fi pamọ́ fún wa mọ́.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni sà so kán bá wa pè wọ́n so tó bá dẹ̀dẹ̀ wá jẹ́ pé àwa ń gbọ́ látẹnu wọn lókodoro kan sọ síta ká mọ bó ṣe ń lọ tó bá jẹ́ pé wọ́n ti gbowó ni tó yẹ kí wọ́n fẹ́ máa tàn wá ni àṣé tàn mọ́ so bá wa pè wọ́n kán wá sórí ètò yìí so that a lè rí wọn Mr. Tony náà á rí wọn lójúkojú wọn á jọ máa béèrè ọ̀rọ̀ tó máa fẹ́ sọ máa dẹ̀ lè ṣe fídíò wọ́n á ṣàṣe ọ́díò á máa gbọ́ nǹkan tó ń sọ nǹkan tèmi rò pa lè ṣe nìyẹn so that constitution tó lẹ́ni tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ yín sọ̀rọ̀ pé wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe election kò sẹ́ni tó ààrẹ dì fún election kankan kò sọ̀rọ̀ election kan là ń sọ ẹ̀ constitution yẹn ni kán bá wa ṣe, kán bá wa gbé constitution yẹn wálẹ̀ sí jẹ́ pé that is the best thing tó jẹ́ kó lè jẹ́ kí ìlọsíwájú wà lórí nǹkan tá a fẹ́. Bóyá a fẹ́ kí nàìjíríà kan tún nàìjíríà tó ní o, bóyá a fẹ́ kó ní kálukú máa bá tiẹ̀ lọ ní o, constitution yẹn gbọ́dọ̀ kọ́kọ́ kúrò ńbẹ̀ torí òun ló ń fún wọn lágbára láti máa ṣe gbogbo nǹkan tí ò yẹ kán ṣe.
Thank you very much, Kola. I want to appreciate your contribution. Thank you. I'm gonna leave you now to go so that I can take up another caller. Kolas, every time you call, because this program is for everybody. So it's not only for Yoruba speaking people. I'm so sorry I didn't stop it until you pointed out to me. I am so sorry. The program is for everybody. So we're going to have to take it back to English. I have some few missed calls earlier on that I might probably try and see whether I can go back to quickly. One is this one here. Let's see if the caller is still there. We lost Mr. Tony. I don't know what happened there. Normally, this kind of program, they normally truncate it from Nigeria, but he has poured so much information to us already. He has poured so much. Caller, your name, where you're calling from?
This is Jide calling from Nigeria.
Thank you, Mr. Jide. Thank you. Speak English, please, Uncle. I know you started in English because it's for
yeah, please. Thank you for bringing Mr. Tony on board. I've been listening to your program for over 1 month now. At least like 4 Fridays consecutively now.
Thank you.
You see, he has really spoken well.
Hold on, Uncle. Uncle, hold on. Are you only listening to us on Friday? What about other days? What about the one yesterday?
Yeah, I'm just concerned mostly about you bringing Mr. Tony on Fridays.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead now, sir.
Yeah. Now, what I want to say, I listened to one caller that just spoke, that if you can take note of the names that Mr. Tony had mentioned, to bring them on board, bring them to the table, let's have their own view. I'm in support of that. But you see, there are some certain things that needs to be done. Somebody like Mr. Tony, he has been trying. But in addition to what the one caller has said, I would suggest that somebody like Mr. Tony and the rest that are fighting for the masses, fighting for better Nigeria or division, either way is what many Nigerians want. But the best thing now is that we should get these people and have some youth, massive youth around them, either to protest straight down to each of these people's house, and they will not have somebody like Mr. Tony among them that will lead and look and to get their own opinion, either that way or if the masses, they should secretly go for the other option, which I will not want to discuss here publicly. Because you see, these our politicians, they are all evil. If they can hide palliative, indomie, away from the masses, that is highly barbaric.
Yes.
That is devilish. It is in fact, if there is it is an understatement to call it devilish, as it is palliatives. So meaning they deliberately want the whole Nigerians to be poor and take advantage of them when the need rises, when they need their mandate. That is what they've been doing. But thank God for Mr. Tony that's coming up with this kind of sensitization. So that's to tell you how bad, how wicked our politicians are. You see, if time is not taken into consideration now, this is the best time for the masses, for the youth, for the highly intelligent people that are fighting for the majority of Nigerians, for them to come together now and do what? And take the necessary steps. And the necessary steps is to identify those who are in support for either restructuring or break off, fighting for the constitution. Those who are in support to fight against that constitution, bring it out and restructure or they break.
So once we are able to identify those things, then they can fight for whatever they want, whether they are going for breakup or they want to remain in Nigeria for the betterment of everybody.
Okay, thank you very much.
Betterment of everybody. Thank you, sir.
I really appreciate your contribution. Thank you. Yeah. I think we're having a lot of issue bringing Tony back. I'm going to try and call him on the phone to see what is going on because he's so keen about what he's doing. And I have one important question to ask him. Let's just find out what is happening down at his hand, and then we can, before we continue. Just 1 second, guys. Hello, sir. We lost you. We lost you. Okay, nice one. Yeah, thank you. Okay, Mr. Tony is going to be back very soon with us. We have to say a very big thank you to Mr. Tony for doing what he's doing, because it's been wonderful, wonderful, wonderful educating us on all this one. Okay, what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to try and find a means of bringing all this name. We're going to compile all the names that we think we need to bring. We're going to try and compile the name. Let's see who is on the landline, yeah? Caller, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you. You want to contribute to our program?
Yes, please.
Okay. Can you turn your volume down a little bit, please?
Oh, sorry, I'm blind. Hold on. I'll pause it. Sorry, I'm blind. Yeah, you have to.
Okay, please take your time, Auntie. Take your time.
Yeah. I'm Reverend Mary. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Please, I would like to let you know that whether the people of Fulani or whatever they are called lies, yeah, God says we are going. There is nothing they can do about that. I was disappointed this morning when I heard that Mr. Bakari or Pastor Bakari, so to say, also involved in all this constitution, because I listened to him a few days ago when they were discussing about the handshake with the Igbos. What he said about it, I was a bit disappointed. But let me tell you, tell them that God has spoken. Mother of the Lord said God has spoken. There's nothing they can do about it. Yeah. I was one Buhari supporter. But because of what is happening now, God is changing his word, saying that Nigeria is no longer Nigeria. He's taking over. And Biafra is going, also Odua, known as Yoruba Nation. We are going. He told me, and I tell people around me, I don't miss it. I'm blind. I know when God talks to me, I see angels around me all the time. I don't walk alone. So let them know that Mother of the Lord said, we, the Yorubas, we are going. Amen. Dr. Bakare, if he's listening to me, he cannot rescue Nigeria. God said he cannot rescue Nigeria. We are no longer under slavery in that country. Slavery era is gone. Slavery time is gone. I'm speaking prophetically now. I am Reverend Mary Ajiboye. They call me Mother of the Lord in heaven. So I can say to anybody at any time, if Queen Elizabeth is standing, I tell people, I will tell him the truth. We are no longer in any marriage with that country. God has separated us. Write it down today and write my name. Any pastor that will say no to this, God has turned his back against them. Because the suffering of God's people is too much. God is crying the way his people are being slaughtered. God is not happy. I am the mouthpiece of God. I saw Tinubu few months ago with his son. I did not know that anything was going to happen. I asked myself, God, what are you telling me? I told my husband, because my husband is one of his fans, I said, I saw Tinubu. He came to me in the spirit realm, because I remember Clinton, what's his name? Hillary Clinton, when he was fighting for the post. He came and said, consult your God. I said, you'll miss it. I serve Jesus. Listen, I'm speaking as a mouthpiece of Jehovah now. Nobody can stop that separation. Write my name there. Reverend Mary Adams. And as for those who said they want to fight war, they should allow God to fight for them. We are missing it a lot. In the book of Second Chronicle, remember when they went to war, they did not fight war. They were singing songs to the Lord, and the God of heaven sent anguish to the enemy, and they killed themselves. Let us believe that the power that Prophet Ayo Babalola used then is still available. I am not disputing all those who are saying she'll go or whatever. I'm not interested. I follow your program a lot, which I believe God has put you there for a purpose. I've learned a lot about Allah or Bantana, whatever, you know those things you do. I've learned a lot before, because I'm blind, I don't even mingle with the world. I don't have anybody but God, and they are with me now. I'm talking to you. I see heaven, I see people, I see angels around me. I blind, my brother. Tell them that God said, the cry of my people, the innocent blood that been shed in that country, is reaching in heaven. And I am, God is no longer sitting down. Now this morning, I commanded the angel to go to the outer rock. I saw something, my brother, before I dropped right now. I saw the witches and wizards in Nigeria flying, spitting, and they were crying for help. They are already, God is already fighting them. The host of heaven are beating them up. Wow. Because that's the genesis of our problem. There are too many evil people in Nigeria. Evil so-called pastors, they are evil. I saw them, whatever I see, I tell my children and my husband, I said, this is what the Lord did to me. I saw witches flying with birds, birds, what do you call them? Black, screaming, shouting, one escalator. That was 2 days ago. And I told my people here, listen, my brother, there's nothing nobody can do. The shedding of blood is too much. Yes. God is no longer happy. That parent should listen to me. He knows that the innocent blood has been shed every day. Enough of all this discrepancy. Enough of lies. Let's face God of heaven. I cannot see. I told you I'm blind. But I tell people, I am Jesus Christ. And I want to get through. I don't know how to do that. You understand? Please, my brother, continue with your good work. I tell Mr. Tony, God is with them. God is fighting for them. And for those leaders, senators, it is well with you, my brother.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. God bless you, man. Thank you.
Right.
Mr. Tony, I know you're back on the line with me. Can you try and reconnect? Is it possible, or would you just continue with audio? I've sent you another link already. You haven't opened it. Okay. Thank you. Reconnect. Okay. No problem at all. Thank you, sir. Wow. That was very, very powerful from Reverend. That was very, very, very powerful revelation. I like it when God spoke like that. It makes me happy. It livened my spirit, and it takes me to even higher realm. I want to appreciate everybody who has been on the program with us this morning. I really, 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 really appreciate you. Your comment at thank you, my brother, my wonderful brother, Oluwadamilare Soji Israel Omotola Doyen. Thank you very much for joining. And that's just a few people on Facebook. I'm gonna come to people on YouTube in a minute. Thank you, Temi Tope. Thank you very much. Temi Joy Olanrewaju on point. Thank you. Adedayo Caroline. Thank you. I want to say a very big thank you. Bashiru Mustafa, thank you. Freedom of speech. I like that. You see, I like your comment. No more election. Break Nigeria now. That's another comment still on Facebook. I have some few more. Abdurrahim Alimat. Thank you for encouraging me there. Joseph Emmanuel, thank you for your encouragement. Tolu Alashe Ayoade, thank you. Shegun Adeyinka, thank you for your encouragement. Let's go to YouTube quickly. The blood of the innocent farmers killed by the herdsman. Boko Haram may eat onto Nigerian satanic evil politicians and their supporter. Thank you very much for that. That's from Jason Lincoln. Woo, Lincoln Nomalatile. God's will. Thank you for joining. Michelle Bello, I love your preaching. Talk pure, positive word. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really want to say thank you to everybody who has been hammering on the necessary things this morning. Without you, we can't be here. We're here because you're watching us. If you're not watching, it will be boring and we'll have been tired. So I want to thank you. Even people who are sending in word of encouragement online as well, I really want to thank you all. There's an uncle that called earlier and I said I'll call him back. I'm going to try and call you back now so that you can speak to us quickly before Tony comes back. Let's see this uncle. I want to thank everybody this morning who has been part of this program. I want to thank every one of you guys. Okay, we couldn't get the uncle back. Tony is still having a lot of problem connecting back. Yes, I know sometimes they do this to us when we're doing a fantastic program like this. They try to truncate it, but that is not a problem. Tony has given us so much this morning anyway. Whether we get him back or we don't get him back is not the end of the world because we have a lot of things to digest from him already. I want to thank everyone who has been here. The line is still open. The line is still open. If you still want to call in, please do so. If you still want to call in, please do so. That was a very wonderful presentation, Mr. Tony. Further clarification will be requested on the structuring of governance. What happened to the existing government? For example, in Chile, the constitutional reform will end in 2022. But this one in Nigeria, I don't think we're going to wait for that long. I think this one is coming to an end gradually, and everybody knows. Even the host of heaven are confirming from our prophet, our reverend this morning. And not only from there, big brother, thank you for your dedication. Thank you too for even watching. Because if you're not watching, how can we be here? What that people? Thank you very much. I'm not in Nigeria. I'm a citizen of United Kingdom of Yoruba Nation. Nigeria is a scam. And Nigeria now. That was something still on YouTube. Let's go back to Facebook quickly and get some few information. Some people who are commenting. It's time to go back to our roots. Let all our hands be on the deck. To your tent, O Israel, and Nigeria now. Save our life. Ade Omoluabi Oduduwa, thank you. No selection in 2023. Break the nation now. Samuel Johnson. Oluwadamilare Soji Israel. Good job, bro. Good morning, sir. Adejo, that is my man from Español. Probably because this is what leads to civil war. Yeah, it can lead to civil war. Whether civil war, people are dying at the moment anyway. So there's nothing to do without people saying people are dying. People are getting killed every day with what is happening on around us. The X-Men are killing, the bandits are killing. Then they introduce the hoodlums. I'm sure those ones will start killing more. We have another name. Maybe before the end of the year, they might even have another name quickly. We first of all start with Fulani X-Men. We have X-Men. We have X-Men. We have bandits. We have kidnappers, and they now just introduce hoodlum. Hoodlum is another new name that is terrorizing the people in Location 9, Nigeria. I want to thank everybody in the studio for making noise and contributing to what I'm doing right now. Guys, what can I do without you? What can I do? What can I do? There's nothing absolutely I can do. Ademoluabi, thank you for inviting all my people in. Lola Olasukomi should be joining us very soon. Engineer Adebayo Adamolekun should be joining us very soon. And the host of others, Pastor Ife Ade Oluwatoyosi, will be joining us very soon as well. I want to thank everybody who has been on the show. It wasn't a bad show at all. A lot of things to educate ourselves. Fulani are threatening Yoruba and the Igbo politician with EFCC to subscribe to their ideology. If not, they will face EFCC. Why they celebrate Gadu Dollar? I don't know. What leads to civil war is not. It is not restructuring. Let them tender apology before restructuring. We don't even want the apology. We just want to have our life back. We don't want to live under Boko Haram that they will visit Southeast. Let them come. They're free to come to the Southeast. They only have about how many days? 9 days left before they start facing spiritual warfare. Did you hear that? So, 9 days before spiritual warfare starts, it is not a threat, it's the reality. You can't restructure when there is no structure. There's no restructure. There's no restructure when there's no structure. There's no referendum when there's no reference. I like that. I like that. Guys, you are wonderful. As we move, let's not forget to pressure the zoo security force to refocus their effort on fighting insecurity and terrorism, not a middle belt, because they seem to be focusing on the south. Let them do that. They can keep doing that. I have another caller in. I hope that is not Tony trying to get hold of me again. I've been waiting for his call for some time, but he refused to come in. It's Tony. I'm going to decline that call from that gentleman because I need to speak to Tony quickly. Okay, that one freezes. Let's try one more time. Because this person I need to speak to, I need to speak. I know my audio, my microphone is muted. Don't worry, guys. Turn your system device off and back on again and try again.
Right.
And if you cannot connect them,
Right. I'm good.
thank you. We're still waiting for Tony to come back, so please bear with me. Welcome back. Welcome back. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Tony again. So what we need to do, continue the enlightenment through audio dialogue and his contribution. Okay, so you guys want audio then? Okay, let me bring Tony through audio. Oh no, don't worry. Don't let us bring him back. Let's just take some few questions. If you want me to take some few questions, let's take question today. If you want question, just say Q. If you want Tony to come back next week and continue, just put W. So we will do it as a vote. For Tony to continue, please put no. If you want us to take question today, put Q there and we go to question. If you want Tony to come back next week, put W. And if you want Tony to come back today, put T. So you have three options. Q for question, T for Tony, and W for next week. For Tony next week, yeah? Yeah, go ahead. Let's see your votes, yeah? We only got like 30 seconds. T, I got one T, I got one Q. 30 seconds, and the time start now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So that's 30 seconds gone. So I've got Tony. I got more Tony on Facebook, but I'll give the Facebook to populate for the next 10 seconds, and then we take the final result. So far so good. It's looking like Tony is gonna come back on audio. Okay, the audio guys won the competition, so we're gonna try and get Tony back on the audio. I will have to call him from another number so that when you guys wants to call in, you can still call in. Let me just try and arrange that quickly. 1 second, guys. I won't call him on WhatsApp. I'm gonna have to WhatsApp or direct call. WhatsApp seems to be more secure than direct call. Tony, his number is not this one. Just 1 second, guys. I'm sorry to keep you guys waiting. That's Tony's number there. Keypad 0023480 0569942.
Yeah, hello?
Hello, Mr. T. Tony.
Yeah, hello?
Sorry, Heritage. Your audience said we should continue with audio.
No, I can barely, I'm not hearing you. I hear you speaking, but I can't make out what you're saying.
Okay, you can't hear me. Okay, let me try and turn the volume up a little bit, yeah? One second. Mr. T, can you hear me now?
No, you said blow there. Number is on WhatsApp. I could call you back on it.
Okay, please, yeah? Please do. Thank you.
Let me use another phone to call you back on it and see whether it comes.
Okay, no problem. Okay. There's so many things wrong with location 9 network. So many things. Look, don't let it be like American election that the answer keep coming back. The ballot keep coming in after the election. So We need to end Nigeria now. But it doesn't matter because Tony is still coming back next week, Friday anyway. 10 o'clock UK time. Don't let us do 9 o'clock, please. 9 o'clock, that was too hard. Especially when I don't go to bed until about 2 3 o'clock in the morning and I have to start preparing. And when you're starting a show at 9, you have to be on your decks by 7:30, 8 o'clock. Otherwise, the show will not happen. Okay? I think Mr. T is calling now. Mr. T, can you hear me now?
Yeah, hello.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better now.
Okay, let's deal with this then, yeah? Your audience want us to do some question time. You don't mind?
Right. Okay.
Okay, let's take the first caller. The first caller, I hope this caller is calling to ask Tony some questions. Caller, are you trying to ask Tony some questions? Caller? No, that one didn't go through. Let's try again. There's one uncle I promised to call back before. Should we call him back first or should we? Let's call that gentleman back first back here. I'm trying to get this caller back. They've been trying to. Oh, the call are coming in thousands now. So I don't necessarily have to call anybody back again. So let me stop that one. Let's pick this call quickly. Okay.
What if I come on video? Are you able to show them so they could see me?
Hold on 1 second. I tried something last week. I was trying an experiment last week that works.
Connect the video first.
Okay.
Let's see what's
going to do now. Yeah, 1 second. Technology. We're gonna try and make technology work now. I'm going to try and accept that call in a minute. Yeah. The lady on the line, please hold on, please, Auntie. Please hold on, Auntie, please. Yeah. Just stay there for a second. I'm just trying to make another meet. You know, Mr. Tony, you have to do a landscape for me, please. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we need to put this technology to use. Let's see whether I can get it. Okay. This is a new thing that I was trying to practicalize in the last some of our research institute. We're trying to research this, but we haven't put it to use before. So let's see whether it works the first time. And if it works, this will be the best thing for everybody in the whole world. Because it means we will be able to start bringing WhatsApp call into our program. I was doing the research in the last few weeks. I haven't finalized it yet. I don't know much about the audio. Caller, could you please do me a favor? Give me some few minutes. Okay, while we're trying to fix that, yeah? I might be trying to fix that. Hello, sis? Good morning, madam. You want to contribute to our program?
Yes, I saw more program Milan on it, sir.
Okay.
I'm not a contribution to my fair share.
For the one yesterday or for the one today?
For the one yesterday, sir.
Okay, let me finish the one I'm on now, then I'll call you back because we're on another program right now.
Sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, sir.
God bless you.
Sir.
Yeah.
And you too, sir.
Okay. I think Fatai Ogoribido is trying to come in. I'm going to bring Fatai in quickly. And while you're speaking to Fatai, I will fix my audios and my things, yeah. Okay, we're calling Fatai back now, yeah. Mr. Ogoribido, you are on the show. Are you trying to contribute to the show or you're just calling for meeting?
Honestly, let me just go and see how the show is going on because I've not been able to log in.
Bye-bye. So you go on the show first and then I'll call you back in a minute. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry, guys. Sometimes it does happen like that. There's another caller here who called before as well. Hello, caller. Are you trying to contribute to the program?
Yeah, good morning. I want to contribute to the program.
Okay, Mr. Tony, I hope you can hear him.
Yes, I can hear.
Yeah, go ahead, sir. Okay. Mr. Tony is here. He's listening to you.
Okay. My first question to Mr. Tony that why does it take you too long before you force out, or you did not see that something went wrong before?
I will answer that for Mr. Tony first of all. He's been crying about this for a long time. He's been talking about it. It's only people who are not willing to listen. Am I right, Mr. Tony?
Let me tell him where to find evidence of what you just said. Eh? Just get on YouTube and type Lower Niger Congress. So you can see how many videos, no less than 50 videos on national television will come up. From the time we did Pronaco to the time we went to court in 2007 to say we did not make this constitution, we've been everywhere our people are to be found on the face of the earth. In Yoruba land, we went from Akure to Owo to Ife to Ijesha, everywhere, Ibadan, back to Lagos. In the eastern part, we went from the Ijo to the Anang to the Efik to the Ogoni, and every time we end up on national TV, AIT, NCB, NTA, channels. Overseas, we went to everywhere our people gathered to do anything in terms of thinking of what will happen to us. If you get on YouTube and you type Lower Niger Congress, you are going to see at least 50 videos of the kind of discussion going on right now. In fact, as far back as 2015, so loud has it become that there was a special congressional event at Capitol Hill to get us come to make a presentation on the question around our constitution before the UN came last year. If you go on YouTube and type Lower Niger Congress at the United States Congress, you will see the video of where this thing was being said on the podium in Capitol Hill. So everybody else has been listening. Everybody else has been trying to find out what can be done. The only people who are not listening are our own people who are in that problem. I don't know. Somebody called me from Abuja yesterday to say that he has come to the conclusion that it must be by occultic manipulation. That those who should be listening to these things have not been listening all the while. Because the things are there in the public space, in the widest public space, all over the internet. And the organizations that should know have been approached. The organizations that should know have all been approached. The leaders that should know have all been approached. The church leaders, the ethnic and thought leaders, all kinds, the bars, everybody who had been in public space talking about what will happen to Nigeria or their own people in Nigeria had been informed and armed with all this information fully. But they are suppressing them.
I have one more question before I can give the chance to second person and another person to call. My second question is that you asking that we should change the constitution, but changing the constitution, is it going to change our problem? And then you mentioned in your statement that a carry gun is not going to resolve this problem. So how are we going to open our eyes and the people are killing our people and then we are not ready? So changing the constitution is not going to change our problem. That is another
nobody. I want you to listen carefully to what I say. We say take down the constitution, jettison the commission, take it away. Then we go to a discussion during a period of transition like South Africa did. It is in that period of transition that Yoruba would first decide whether they want to continue in any union with anybody by referendum. The eastern side will do so. It is in that discussion that we will now come out with whatever a majority of our people want. If a majority say they don't want to get back into a union with those who owe it a duty of faith to kill them as infidel, then that's the end of the process for that part. And we in saying taking down constitution does not mean writing another. Before we begin to talk about writing another constitution, it must be after our people have recommitted to being in the union. So it's not a question of let's go and write another constitution. That's what we're trying to correct now, because that's what the National Assembly and all of those who are saying, oh, let's go and write another constitution now. No, it's not writing of constitution. It is to discuss first whether we want to be in union. because the constitution they have in place now is a fraud, is a forgery, is being repudiated. It can no longer be basis of union, and if no meeting is called to resolve this matter, if those who are being told are refusing to listen, the union will collapse. In fact, the union is already at an end as we speak. People are just being held here against their will by force, and they will not continue to submit and be intimidated by those who are pointing guns at them as the only mechanism for keeping the union. That's what's going on now. Only guns are keeping the union. Those who are being fired at may eventually have to resort to some kind of self-help. It may become disorderly. That's what we're trying to avoid. But if anybody thinks that people are going to be cowed into submission, such a person should have a rethink, because nobody is going to stay and be killed. Because the other side is coming upon everybody. There's an ethnic cleansing going on right now. There's an attempt to eliminate the owners of the indigenous nationalities of Nigeria and plant the Fulani in their place. Our borders have been thrown open. They poured in. They are pointing guns at everybody in all the communities. They are standing on the authority of this constitution to come to our spaces. And we're saying, let's go and discuss. They say, no, we have conquered you.
All right, Mr. Tony, I've heard you. Please, one more last question, please, before I go. Please, who are the people that we need to call to sit down and discuss? Either we are going to move forward and maybe we are not going to move forward, or where are we? What are we waiting for? Because we are so quiet, we are so wait for so long. So why are we not making a move? Because it's too long. So if there are those people who are still alive, or maybe they are no more alive, what is the solution?
There's a process that have been on for 21 years. Step by step. I'm sure you heard about Pronaco. Caller, did you hear about Pronaco?
Yeah, I heard that.
That process has continued to date. It never stopped for even 1 minute. The Pronaco was to build a consensus. What is it we want in place of what we are rejecting, so that we don't land in anarchy because we are rejecting 1999 constitution. So we gathered the owners of Nigeria. Yoruba came as Yoruba, Ijo came as Ijo, Ogoni came as Ogoni, Igbo came as Igbo. That was why I said Buhari was part of the foreign delegation that came. Sayed Abubakar, the Sultan in Sokoto now, is one of those that came with the Fulani delegation. And for 2 years, we were reviewing all of how we came together into the union. The US sent observer mission at the time. European Union sent observer mission at the time. All of the groups that eventually, that began to carry arms against the Nigerian state, as at that time, we persuaded them to put their guns aside. Gani Adams and his OPC, Asari Dokubo and his Niger Delta Volunteer Force, and all kinds of other groups, Biafra of Maso of that time, we persuaded them to put their guns aside so that we can discuss, on the terms of whether we want to continue in the union, and if yes, on what terms. We succeeded with a draft constitution. The only people that stayed away was the government of the day. Obasanjo's government said we were committing treason if we were calling a meeting of the owners to decide new constitutional arrangement. Eventually, we went to court in 2007 to give Nigeria the opportunity of discussing the matter under a roof and not on the street, because it will eventually take itself to the street, like we have seen recently. These matters will get on the street in the most disorderly manner if we do not agree with ourselves that we need to discuss the terms of the union and rework the damaged basis of the Federation of Nigeria that have been destroyed since 1966. And so, from going to court in 2007 and look at the kind of plaintiffs we had, Enohoro was plaintiff in that suit, saying that we did not make this constitution. Shoyinka was and is still plaintiff in that suit. Ojukwu, that had been at war, was in that suit. Sisi Ono was in that suit. Prince Bankole Oki, who was the chairman of the body, the senior advocate, who was the chairman of the body of senior advocates in Nigeria, who passed on at the age of 90, was in that suit. Bishop Bonigi in Akure, still alive, plaintiff in that suit. The two persons they were holding for treason in that period, Asari Dokubo and Wazirike of Masov, They were both plaintiffs in that suit, and it was that suit that collapsed at Tuesday trial of 2007. And in all that kind of what we went to court to say is that we, the people, did not make this constitution. Therefore, it's a forgery against us. It's a fraud against us. It's treason being committed by those who are governing, who are holding Nigeria together by that constitution. And therefore, our prayer before the court was, we asked the court to give an order for a transitioning that will take no more than 18 months. While those already elected remain in government house, let this discussion, this originating discussion among the sovereign constituents take place like South Africa did with Rhodesia. Because we have already talked amongst ourselves for this length of time, since after 1967 in Aburi, these discussions have been going on. But Pronaco was the one that now set it out a laboratory to bring in everybody, and we came out with a draft constitution. If the video was on now, I will show you the draft that came. And then we went to court to say, let us process this. If anybody has any adjustment, he will suggest, let us accept that we must go and work out how to relate afresh, so that this union does not collapse on everybody, because that collapse can become bloody, can become a catastrophe for the continent with the 200 million people trapped here, which the UN has also raised alarm about. That if 200 million people begin to look for where to run to, the global community will have very new challenges, unprecedented. And so, from that 2007, we kept on, those who introduced Sharia began to escalate their Sharia pursuit in those 12 days. The rest of us now proceeded in an enforcement mechanism we call the Movement for New Nigeria, which in effect is actually movement for no Nigeria, since those who introduced Sharia were not listening to anybody. Those who impose that constitution were not listening to anybody. They are clinging onto it. But they invite, renegades from all our midst. All of those from the South and Middle Belt who cling onto that constitution with them are the ones enabling that constitution. The political parties that all subscribe to that constitution are the ones keeping it alive. And when things will snap, they will be on the first line of attack by those who are choking, those who are being killed, those who are being enslaved under that constitution. The political parties that are taking us to election under that constitution, the individuals that are swearing to defend and uphold that constitution against the rest of us. So progressively, we came to where we decided, okay, this constitution must go. But before it goes, let us have the instruments that will replace it. And so on the 30th of June in 2011, by what we call the Lagos Declaration, the alliance blocks, that's the Lower Niger, that's South and Southeast together, relating as ethnic nationalities for working out their future. The Yoruba bloc and the Middle Belt, the map that was shown before, he can show it again. I'm not seeing it, but if he shows it again, you will see the lines in that map. You will see the Yoruba as one block, including the Yoruba of Kwara and Kogi. You will see the eastern side of the southern Nigeria, which is the whole of the south and southeast, relating as ethnic nationalities. That is
great.
Them as Lower Niger, including Benin. There's a map to it that delineates, because it is in their formation. It is in that formation that they qualify for self-determination under the appropriate UN instrument that came in 2007. You must be Ogoni on Ogoni land to qualify. You must be Yoruba on Yoruba land. You must be Scot in Scotland. You must be Catalan in Catalonia. You must be Idoma on Idoma land. That is what qualifies you for self-determination under that UN instrument. And so we had to work it all out in those multi-cultural, multinational, multi-ethnic blocks. So there's a charter, the charter of relationship that will be spelling the relationship between all of those in that block. In the Middle Belt, the same thing. There's a charter of relationship that will be spelling out the relationship between between the Tiv, the Doma, the Joko, the Berom, all of them. As I speak with you, those documents are in place. The ones who have not finished their own, Yoruba certainly have finished their own. They have a constitution that can take them back to being a country of their own, or a region with autonomy that will be contributing to the center if their people vote to continue with any union with anybody. And so we proceeded from that. Each of these blocks, having made out their documents, went to Solemn Assembly to proclaim to the outside world, to the global community. Caller, I'm sure you remember on the 7th of September in 2017 that the Yoruba gathered in their strength at Adamasingba Stadium in Ibadan to repudiate the 1999 Constitution as basis of the Union. I hope the caller is listening to this.
Yes.
Can he confirm that Yoruba repudiated the Constitution in Adamasingba Stadium? To the hearing of the whole world, their governors were there. The army was there. The political leaders were all there. That stadium was filled. So that's in the Yoruba space.
Mr. Tony, yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I've heard everything. But I will have to say this before I go. You mentioned 2007, you mentioned 2011, you mentioned 2017. What is
the process? I'm taking you through. Hold on.
Because I want to thank you very much, Mr. Ade. So that's my last question to give another person a chance, please. Thank you very much.
Listen to the answer on your device, sir. Thank you.
I didn't hear his question.
I think what I'm going to do because of time is 12 o'clock now in London, and I believe it's going to be 1 o'clock. I have another program starting soon. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be ending the program here now. We will continue next week, Friday, when we will come your way again at 10 o'clock to have a very proper dialogue. People are getting to understand what this means because of the kind of explanation we're getting from Mr. Tony. Mr. Tony, I want to say a very big thank you to you for coming on the show today. Your last word on the program before I let you go, sir.
Well, let's target by next week, now that we all see what the problem is and what the processes of solving it can be. Let us target next week to come to where we say step by step of what has to happen now, so that everybody can know exactly what has to be done now.
Yeah.
And then insist and begin to do their part. We can do that in the next so that
edition,
before now people didn't know Constitution was the problem. People didn't see the connections or the fact that it's actually in their hands to do, not in the hands of National Assembly. So we've cleared out all of that now. So next week we just come to say step by step, what is it that has to happen?
Fantastic. Thank you very much, guys. I want to thank Mr. Tony, and I'm sure you are joining me to thank Mr. Tony on the program. I really want to say a very big thank you to Mr. Tony, who has fed up with a lot of information today. Will we go away and start digesting the information one by one? I have learned a lot myself. On behalf of everybody who has worked behind the scene, both in Nigeria, in Location 9, in Oduduwa Nation, in Biafra, in Noalaija, in South, I want to thank everybody who has worked very hard to make this program a reality. Until next week, I remain loyal to you, Ade Thomas. Thank you.
Heritage TV. La 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 la. Heritage TV.
Everybody in London, have you heard that Heritage Television has come up with something new? All your functions and celebrations can now be multi-camera live stream that was only reserved for the rich and famous. Having a function in London can be viewed clean and clear immediately from any part of the world. Trust Heritage TV to give you a better reach. Heritage Television also does photography that will make you the envy of all your friends and family. Heritage Television is the best. All your functions like birthdays, funerals, weddings, church anniversaries or harvest. Heritage Television is the master. We are in the heart of London with an ultra-modern equipped studio. You can call us on 020-800-46100 or email us info@heritagetv.co.uk or mobile 0734 1234 560. Heritage Television will do you proud.